2025 Triumph Speed Twin 1200 RS specifications. Although the 2019 Speed Twin 1200 was a relative newcomer to Triumph Modern Classics fleet, it quickly won over readers by melding some of the most modern sensibilities of the Speed Triple with classic charm from the Bonneville. Of those, the Street Twin family has been the bestseller within the Modern Classics range. For 2025, it gets arguably its biggest redesign since its introduction. What's given this Speed Twin 1200 its appeal is for the most part because of how it can pass as a relaxed vintage roadster without having to give up technology or suspension in the process. Triumph ups the ante for 2025 with a new, even more sporty tuned Speed Twin 1200 RS model to go along with bringing the base Speed Twin 1200 in on a more comfort-oriented tack. At the heart of both bikes sits the same 1200cc, 270-degree parallel twin-mill powerplant that has powered the Modern Classics range. It's been revised, with new camshafts and intakes, to deliver 5 more horsepower than before. Peak power comes at 7,750 revolutions per minute, with 103.5 horsepower, before reaching an 8,000 revolutions per minute redline. The torque curve is still flat at 82.6 lb featuring, but at a lowly 4,250 revolutions per minute. Casings have had some external styling to make them look sleeker and more modern. Indeed, this updated model is most in keeping with the more muscular roadsters that sat astride the 1970s and 1980s rather than those from the 1960s that was the Bonneville. The revised suspension and brakes are similarly evident to rivals such as the BMW R129T and Kawasaki Z900 RS, a sensible evolution of the midlife refresh in 2021 that brought radial mount calipers and inverted forks to the original. The frame is still of the familiar steel cradle design, but the exterior features a reworked gasoline tank with a more sloping leading edge than previously. This gives the tank a forward-leaned profile and pushes the visual weight of the side profile further forward, making the design more aggressive in appearance. The old-school, tall, flat seat again follows the design of the earlier Speed Twin, but the bike is modernized and the visual weight once again pressed forward by more integrated side panels beneath. The base model's 43mm Marzocchi forks are the same design as before but with softer springs, while the Marzocchi rear shock now features a piggyback remote reservoir. The new Speed Twin 1200 RS gets many of its components from the soon-to-be axed Thruxton RS, such as Öhlins remote adjustable reservoir units and gold-colored forks again, Mazzoni, but this time fully adjustable, unlike the original. The Speed Twin 1200 RS comes with Brembo radial mount calipers. Meanwhile, the standard Speed Twin 1200 gets Triumph-branded radial mount 4-piston units for 2025 to replace those Brembo M50s that featured on the previous model. The most readily apparent visual differences between the original 2025 Speed Twin 1200 and the Speed Twin 1200 RS probably are those related to suspension and paint, though there is a subtle difference in the riding postures of the two models which may otherwise set them apart from one another. With the larger rear shock and stiffer end and front springs, the rear of the RS is elevated for keener handling. Triumph also pulled the base model Speed Twin 1200's handlebars up 0.7 inch and 0.5 inch closer to the rider for a more upright riding position. Triumph has positioned the RS's foot pegs 0.3 inch higher and 1.6 inch farther to the rear, in addition to shaving 0.6 inch from the handlebar and moving it forward that same amount. These changes to the foot pegs also enabled Triumph to install on the RS model an up, downshift assist quickshifter, the first of the Modern Classics so fitted. In other words, it was the shifting of the foot pegs to make room for the sensor of the quickshifter to be located on the gear linkage that enabled this option. A unique seat cover and 3 riding modes: road, rain, and sport, where the base Speed Twin 1200 only had 2, is the remaining R-specific stuff. Another of the many modernizing touches of the 2025 Speed Twin is all new instrumentation. Fundamentally, it is a small, rectangular TFT color display beneath a semicircular LCD display, all of it fitted within a single circular dial. This setup features a USB-C connector for charging and phone connectivity for turn-by-turn directions. Up front is an all-new LED headlight assembly. Because the Thruxton Cafe Racer is rumored to be axed in 2025, its bases need to be covered via the Speed Twin. In that light, the bike also features a humped seat cowl and lower, slimmer clip-on handlebars, two of literally hundreds of variations available. The Speed Twin 1200 is coming later this year, from $13,595. The Speed Twin 1200 RS will list for $15,995.